is MGT Cast, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. We are talking about Heroes of the Storm patch notes.
Heroes patch.
Specifically,
Massive patch.
patch 17.0, in which
Dahaka.
and then the difference is like, that weirdly enough that the StarCraft patches, at least for StarCraft patches, only 3.20.41743. Sorry. Weird that they go in like numbers like that for, well,
Yeah.
in numbers like that for heroes, but um the biggest thing that I can really talk about is that Dahaka has been released. So
Yes. Dahaka.
um and for those of you who don't know, Dahaka is from StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm. He's a primal Zerg um that is with Kerrigan in the campaign, in like near the end of the campaign. Um because she's powerful and thinks she can help him gather the essence he needs. So without further ado, this is more Ultima's bag, so I'm gonna let him take it away.
Okie dokie. Okay, so I guess where to start, there's a new map that it's not in rotation, it's for custom games only. But due to the popular rise of people making custom ARAM games, which is all random, all middle, Blizzard made a Blizzard, I think they tweaked the Tomb of the Spider Queen map and made it a single lane with like no objectives or anything. And it's just about fighting nonstop until one of you destroys the core. So that's added in. The other important changes before we get into the characters and stuff like that. Hero League has introduced bans. Blizzard has been using bans in tournaments since whatever the first official tournaments were after Heroes of the Dorm last year. And so it is the method they're using. It's called the mid-ban method. And so what it is each team gets one ban before any heroes are selected. And the way that works is the person with the highest MMR, basically the person who's considered the best player through matchmaking's algorithms, any heroes are selected, gets to pick the ban.
Huh.
Obviously, you could discuss it with your team, but they ultimately are the ones who have. So theoretically, they have, they don't have to listen to anyone technically. But yeah, so it's each team gets a ban. Then there's 3 rounds of picks. One team gets 1 hero. Then the other team gets 2 heroes. Then it goes back to the other team and they pick 2 more heroes. And then there is a set of bans again, and then the teams finish picking their heroes. So that means now ranked requires 14 heroes. But they are now allowing you to play heroes on free rotation in ranked if you are level 5 or higher with them. So your ability to play ranked might fluctuate from week to week if you're on the cusp of the hero requirements. Other than that, there was a change to what's that map called? Garden of Terror. Where is it? Yes, Garden of Terror. Oh no, actually, and oh yeah, there was a small change to Dragonshire. So the Dragonite is now immune to the attack speed slows applied by forts and keeps. And the punt that the Dragon Knight does no longer stuns the enemy after they're landing. You're only stunned while you're in the air.
Not that that really makes a difference, but
yeah.
Map is still stupid.
Yeah. Not the biggest fan of Dragonshire myself either. So Garden Terror. So the Garden Terror's basic attack damage was reduced by 15%. and its basic attacks now deal 50% damage to nearby non-heroic enemies. So basically, they splash. Um, its auto attack splash. Um, its basic attacks now will instantly kill any minion if you auto attack a minion. But the biggest change is the plant that you would drop called Overgrowth. It no longer affects minions and mercenaries. It no longer deals damage to structures. But what it does is it still disables the buildings. And now, when the overgrowth is on the buildings, the Garden Terror does 100% bonus damage to those structures.
So basically, what they're looking at doing here, I guess, is what they're saying is they want you to push through those rather than just let the overgrowth do the damage for you while you run around like a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get rid of the drop a plant, run to the next spot. Drop a
Yeah,
plant,
so
run to the
basically
next spot.
you're basically kite pushing.
Yeah,
So
now they're forcing you to, all right, you could either let them stop the terror and you go split push, or you push with the terror.
yeah.
Okay. But now the duration of overgrowth is increased to 25 seconds. But obviously that means the cooldown is increased to 25 seconds. But the health of the plant has been doubled as well.
Yeah, I mean, because even when it did damage, I mean, obviously, I'd like to think that when it did damage, you'd want to take it down as quickly as possible. I see the logic there. So now that it doesn't do damage, um, it should be able to take a lot more damage. So that I see what they're going for here. That seems like I guess maybe they saw it as a way to I don't want to say it's like kite pushing is like lazy pushing,
Yeah.
but it makes the push a little bit more tedious when you have to when people are barking at you to do what they think is right rather than what you should be doing, like pushing.
Hmm.
I mean, not that I regard any any person who just barks at me to heart. I don't, because I'm gonna
Yeah.
push. That's the objective of the game. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. So after that, there's obviously the new hero, Dahaka. Um, so his mount ability, he does not mount. What he does instead is he can burrow to any bush or vent on the battleground, no matter where it is, and that's on a 40-second cooldown. Um, his trait is Essence Collection. You collect 10 essence per hero takedown and 2 per enemy minion killed nearby, storing up to 50 essence. And you activate to consume all your stored essence to regenerate health over the next 5 seconds. This can be cast during your Q and E abilities. Your Q ability, Drag, you lash out with your tongue, and the first enemy hit, you can drag them with you for 1.75 seconds, and during that time they are stunned and cannot do anything. His W ability, Dark Swarm, is so over the next 3 seconds you gain the ability to move through units and deal damage in an area around yourself, and this deals double damage to enemy heroes. And this can be cast during Dragon Burrow. His E is Burrow, which allows him to enter stasis, becoming invulnerable for 2 seconds, in which case he just burrows under the ground. And his 2 heroic abilities, Isolation, which is launch a biomass that deals damage, silences, and slows the first enemy hero hit by 30% for 3 seconds, and for the next 60 seconds, the affected enemy loses sight of all allied heroes, greatly reducing its vision.
I mean, that makes sense. If you watch the spotlight video, which I will put in the description after this stream is over, when it outputs the YouTube, I will put the spotlight video link in the description. You get a better idea of what Dahaka is doing. But yeah, that one makes sense because it covers your head.
Yeah.
So
And then his other ultimate is, or heroic ability, Adaptation. After a 5-second delay, 60% of all the damage you took over the last 5 seconds will be returned to you as health. Um, it's the level 20 upgrade for it's really nice, but I will say playing him a little earlier this morning, the before level 20 upgrade, that ultimate's a little underwhelming, especially considering how long the cooldown is, because I think it's about a 90-second cooldown. So, um, so that's it. My thoughts so far on him, he's pretty solid, but I think he's a little bit like Leoric, where I think it'll be hard for him to solo tank because he doesn't have a lot of damage mitigation. He just mostly has self healing, so it
Yeah,
can be a little hard.
he just has self sustained, but you can't. His damage mitigation doesn't is not, you know, he's not
Yeah,
beefy enough for that.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, so now there's a number of heroes that got some changes. Gaul, he can now use Shove and Eye of Kilrog while riding in the Dragon Knight or Garden Terror, which basically, when Cho is in control of the Dragon Knight or Garden Terror, he can now cast Shove and Eye of Kilrog. Greymane's basic attacks have received responsiveness improvements, and his ultimate marked for the kill. The bullet range is increased by 25%, and the speed of the bullet is increased by 45%. All right, so on to Illidan. Illidan Stormrage. This hero has received significant talent changes. Shadow Shield removed. Regeneration Master removed. Seasoned Marksman removed. Follow Through removed. First Aid removed. Giant Killer removed. Blood for Blood removed. Stone Skin removed. Health increased from 1426 to 1650. This is base health, obviously. His health regeneration is increased from 297 to 3.44. And his attack speed is increased from 1.66 attacks per second to 1.82 attacks per second. So now he does attack a little bit faster. His new talent at level 1, Unending Hatred, permanently gain 0.1 basic attack damage for each enemy minion killed near you, and 1 damage for each enemy hero killed nearby. Upon reaching 20% bonus attack damage, you gain an additional 10%.
wow.
Yeah. Also, new talent at level 16, Fiery Brand. Every 4th consecutive basic attack against the same enemy hero deals damage equal to 6% of the target's maximum health. And his trait, Betrayer's Thirst, has been changed. The healing received from Betrayer's Thirst has gone from 20% attack damage to 40% attack damage. So basically, you heal for 40% of the damage you deal on your basic attacks. The Thrill of the Battle talent for his trait has been removed. Thirsting Blade was redesigned and moved from level 4 to level 7. And it now increases Betrayer's Thirst healings from 40% to 60% while Sweeping Strike is active. Which basically, when you use Sweeping Strike and it hits an enemy, you gain a bonus attack increase. Hunter's Onslaught talent moved from level 16 to level 7, and the healing is increased 15% to 25% of ability damage done. And it now only affects your basic abilities. And the healing is doubled against heroic targets. Okay, so now his Q ability, Dive. The Lunge talent removed. Friend or foe moved from level 13 to level 4. Targeting an ally no longer reduces Dive's cooldown, but it now also increases Dive's range by 33%. If you don't remember what Dive is Dive is the ability where he jumps to an opponent and flips over them. Rapid Chase talent moved from level 7 to level 4, and the movement speed bonus reduced to 15%. Reflexive block talent um, used to be triggered by evasion, but is now triggered by casting dive, and you get 3 block charges, which reduce the damage taken from the next incoming basic attack by 75%. That's also another change. Basically, pretty much every block talent has been changed to now block 75% of a basic attack instead of 50%. I think the only person that didn't affect was like Murky, and I think Lieutenant Morales's advanced block at level 4. But yeah, Marked for Death talent was redesigned, moved from level 4 to level 16. Dive deals an additional 230 damage plus 4% per level each time it's cast against the same target within 10 seconds. So does a lot of extra damage when you're chasing someone down. W, Sweeping Strike. Damage bonus duration reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Foul Reach talent removed. Second Sweep talent removed. Batter Assault talent redesigned. Hitting 2 or more enemy heroes with Sweeping Strike increases its damage bonus from 35% to 100%. Immolation talent moved from level 4 to level 1. The damage reduced from 29 plus 4% per level to 22 plus 4% per level. And Immolation is the one where basically he gets Burning Rage every time he uses his W. Unbound talent moved from level 13 to level 4. This allows you to use your W to move through walls. And if it doesn't hit any enemies, it reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. So it sort of allows them to fly around the map a little more. New talent at level 13, Nimble Defender. Hitting an enemy hero with Sweeping Strike grants resistant for 2 seconds, which reduces all incoming damage by 25%. He's got a new talent, Blades of Azeroth. Hitting an enemy hero with Sweeping Strike grants 1 Blade of Azeroth stack up to maximum of 5. Once you earn 5 stacks of Blades of Azeroth, you can activate it to gain 75% basic attack damage for 8 seconds. Activating this consumes all your stacks, obviously. His E evasion, the duration has been increased to 2.5 seconds. He's got a new talent at level 13, Elusive Strike. Reduce evasion's cooldown by 3 seconds for every hero damaged with Sweeping Strike. And his Sixth Sense talent was redesigned. It now reduces 75% of incoming ability damage, but it's only the first 2 abilities that he's hit with while his evasion is up. His Metamorphosis alt was redesigned. The health bonus increase was increased from 183 to 200 per opponent hit. But you now no longer gain attack speed. And at level 20, you now receive the base 20% attack speed bonus that you received beforehand previously, along with all the other upgrades, which was you can now mount, you have you reduce the effect of disables. Yeah. That's Illidan. Played him out. He's pretty nice so far. Jaina got a couple of changes. Nothing too huge, but so she lost Bolt of the Storm because basically what they said was it gave her a get out of jail free card after reaching level 20. They also removed this from Kalthos. And I guess it's, one of those things. It's everyone picked it. It was such an overwhelming choice. So what they did for her improved ice block is moved from level 13 to level 20. And the cooldown's reduced to 20 seconds, and the duration is reduced to 2.5 seconds. So at level 20, she can get improved ice block, and every 20 seconds, she can go invulnerable for 2.5 seconds. And ice barrier, which gives you 25% of the ability damage you do as shields for a few seconds. The talent was moved from 16 to 13, which is where ice block was moved from. Moving on to Kel'Thas. Whoo boy, I was playing him earlier. I will just first off say I'm not impressed. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. It was level 20 Kel'Thas. Not impressed, but here we go. This hero has received significant talent changes. Gathering Power, removed. Envenom, removed. Clairvoyance, removed. Arcane Barrier, removed. Bolt of the Storm, removed. Mana Addict, redesigned. Upon gathering 25 regeneration globes, Kel'Thas gains the Arcane Barrier ability. Activate Arcane Barrier to receive a shield equal to 100% of Kel'Thas's maximum mana for 4 seconds, and that is on a 45-second cooldown. And of course, Mana Addict. Every regen globe you grab gives you 15 extra mana. His trait, Verdant Spheres. So the Fel Infusion talent now also increases ability power by 5%. Mana Tap talent redesigned, activating Verdant Spheres restores 4% of your maximum mana. Sunfire Enchantment talent, damage reduced from 203 to 183. And he now has a new talent at level 16, Twin Spheres. Verdant Spheres gains an additional charge. Ooh, moving on to his Q, his Flame Strike. Damage reduced from 237 to 213. Damage empowered by Verdant Spheres reduced from 356 to 320. Flamethrower talent removed. Convection talent redesigned. It now increases Flame Strike's damage by 5 for each enemy hero hit by Flame Strike up to 100 damage. You lose all bonus damage on death. Once Flame Strike reaches 100 bonus damage, you gain an extra 50 bonus damage, and you now no longer lose the bonus. New talent level 7, Burned Flesh. Hitting more than one hero with Flame Strike causes each hero to take damage equal to 8% of their maximum health. And Fury of the Sunwell. The delay between Flame Strike casts reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds. And that's the one where his Q goes off twice in the same spot. Okay, Living Bomb. The explosion radius was increased by 10%. The explosions now spread Living Bomb to all nearby enemy heroes not already affected by it. Can no longer be cast on targets already affected by Living Bomb. Chain Bomb talent removed because it is now part of the base Living Bomb. Pyromaniac cooldown reduction decreased from 2 seconds to 1 second. Fission Bomb talent moved from level 7 to 13. It no longer increases Living Bomb damage. It just increases the explosion radius by 20%. Backdraft talent moved from 16 to 13. The movement speed slow reduced from 50% to 30%. He gains a new talent at 16. Sun King's Fury. Basic attacks deal 190 plus 4% per level damage to targets affected by Living Bomb. And a new talent at level 20, Master of Flames. Living Bomb can now spread indefinitely between enemy heroes. So basically, if the team never stops clumping, it'll never stop going. His E, Gravity Lapse. Using Verdant Spheres to empower Gravity Lapse now also increases its stun duration by 50%. Trioptimal talent was removed. Gravity Throw, removed. Energy Royal, redesigned, moved from level 1 to level 4. Hitting an enemy hero reduces the cooldown of Gravity Lapse by 7 seconds. Netherwind talent redesign increases Gravity Lap's range by 30% and refunds 85 mana when an enemy hero is hit by Gravity Lapse. Is a new talent at level 7 called Gravity Crush. When Gravity Lapse causes enemies hit to take 25% additional damage from Kalthos for 4 seconds. Let's see. Just a heads up, it's kind of meh right now. He's kind of meh right now, in my opinion. But focusing on your Q is the way to go. Take all the Q talents and just use him to poke. Kerrigan got a small change. So Ultralisk attack damage increased from 91 plus 4% per level to 100 plus 4% per level. And the Torask talent, egg timed life decreased from 8 to 4 seconds. Egg health decreased from 1095 to 594 per level. It's basically just making it respawn quicker, but it's easier to kill. Lunara, Noxious Blossom. Choking Pollen talent, damage bonus increased from 50% to 100%. And her Crippling Spores that let them wither talent. The slow amount applied by Crippling Spores no longer decays over its 3-second duration, but the overall amount is reduced to 50%. The Butcher got one change on Lambda the Slaughter. Targets affected by Lambda the Slaughter are now silenced for the ability's duration. The duration was reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Lambda the Slaughter's chain and silence effects will now be removed if the target becomes invulnerable or unstoppable. The cooldown is increased from 60 to 90 seconds. Oh, let's see. With that, we move on to the final assassin who got changes. That's one of Rice's favorites, Mr. Tychus Finlay.
I'm actually I'm more adverse to I'm more towards like StarCraft related heroes, but yeah, this is kind of like where my skill lies.
So get ready. This one's interesting. Okay, this hero has received significant talent changes. Tychus health increased from 1545 plus 4% per level to 1669 plus 4% per level. His health regeneration is increased from 3.22 to 3.48 health per second. And again, obviously that scales. Regen Master talent removed. Scouting Drone talent removed. Focused Attack talent removed. Vampiric Assault talent removed. First Aid talent removed. Sizzling Attacks talent removed. Problem Solver talent removed. Executioner talent removed. Stone Skin removed. Nexus Frenzy removed. Bolt of the Storm. Wow, I didn't even realize he had Bolt of the Storm. I guess I never took it on him. Removed. Relentless talent renamed Relentless Soldier. Moved from level 13 to level 7. The duration reduces for silent stuns and slows and roots, decrease from 50% to 33%. New talent at level 4, Master Assassin. Hero takedowns increase attack speed by 2% up to a maximum of 20%. While at maximum stacks, Tychus gains an additional 10% attack speed bonus. It doesn't really say anything here if you lose it on death, so I think it's just a permanent increase.
That's kind of strange. They add an attack speed boost to Tychus.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't the only like just let me just add here. The only thing I really lost from that, unless they added something else that's similar, is first aid. Because that I normally take that talent over the other ones on the pool because I normally like to stay in the fight rather than trying to run away, which is why I don't use Bolt of the Storm either. So
Yeah.
because you can get attack speed off of Tychus's overkill if you get that talent. So I mean you could get movement speed, and you don't need to use Bolt of the Storm to chase someone down, especially
Yeah.
if they're slowed by the overkill as well, by the overkill slowing talent as well. So um, well, go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So new talent level. Oh no, sorry. New talent level 13. Neo Steel Coating. Activate to reduce incoming ability damage by 50% for 3 seconds. So he gets an activatable spell shield, which is nice because it can't just be like poked away by something meaningless. You can anticipate incoming damage and activate it. Um, New talent at level 20, Sizzling Attacks. Basic attacks deal 1% of the target's maximum health as damage.
Okay.
Um, so his minigun trait, minigun, has been redesigned. So there's no longer a windup. So his attack speed is at its maximum at all times.
Okay.
Um, and now minigun is an activatable. So your trait's activatable. Activate to cause basic attacks against heroes to deal bonus damage equal to 1.5% of the target's maximum health. Lasts 3 seconds, 12-second cooldown.
Okay. So basically, you're having another activated skill then.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Bringing the D key back? Is bringing the D key to Tychus or what? Like it does
Yeah.
for like it does for Tassadar.
Yeah. Rapid fire talent removed. Lock and load talent removed. New talent level 4 in the rhythm. While minigun is active, each basic attack against an enemy hero permanently increases its duration by 0.03 seconds.
Wow.
That is a strange number, but okay. New talent level 4, fully loaded. Decrease minigun's cooldown by 4 seconds. New talent level 4, the bigger they are. Increase minigun's damage bonus to 3% of the target's maximum health
Wow.
against enemy heroes who are above 40% health.
So it's
So
like that's like a Diablo trait. That's like a trait from Diablo.
yeah,
Like
here's the kicker
only
though.
only if they're above 40% health can you do this extra damage.
Here's a kicker though. Minigun now no longer has an effect on targets under 40% health
Uh,
when you get that. New talent level 13. That's the stuff. Tychus is healed for 100% of the damage dealt while minigun is active.
wow. So that replaces his first aid. It seems like.
Yeah. 13.
So basically, that's basically like making sure you stay in the thick of things. Then.
Yeah. Um. Okay. His Q overkill. The duration is reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. Armor piercing rounds talent moved from level 1 to level 16, but the damage bonus is increased to 50%.
How about that?
Spray and pay talent moved from level 4 to level 13. Bonus to overkill range increased from 15% to 25%. So they're making his. Looks like they're trying to make his Q buffs later in the game
Yeah, but they're making up for it by making
better. Yeah.
making it exceptionally bigger.
Yeah.
Because I already found his range when you upgrade it to be pretty big, but now it's going to be bigger. So watch out for me.
Yeah. Lead Rain talent moved from level 13 to level 16. I think that's the slow on your Q.
Which is it again?
Lead Rain.
Yeah, that's the slow.
Okay, yeah. So they moved it to level 16. So now it's competing with the damage bonus.
Uh-oh.
His W, frag grenade, Shredder Grenade, removed. Melting Point, removed. Concussion Grenade moved from level 16 to level 7. Now also increases the frag grenade's radius by 25%. New talent, level 16, Titan Grenade. Enemy heroes take an additional damage equal to 5% of their maximum health. Run and Gun, E. No longer interacts with Minigun because obviously Minigun no longer has to wind up. Cooldown increased from 8 to 10 seconds. Ooh, okay, Stim Pack talent removed. Dash talent, this functionality has changed. Gather regeneration globes to increase movement speed after casting Run and Gun by 1% for 2 seconds. Wait, what? Okay, so gather regen globes to increase the movement speed after casting Run and Gun by 1% for 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 25%. After reaching 25% stacks, Run and Gun's range is increased by 50%.
Wow. Prepare to fly across the map.
Yeah. New talent level 1, Shrug It Off. Run and Gun grants resistance, reducing incoming damage by 25% for 3 seconds. Level 1, Press the Advantage. Run and Gun increases basic attack range by 25% for 4 seconds. Combat Tactician. Each basic attack reduces Run and Gun's cooldown by 0.75 seconds. New talent, level 20, Bob and Weave. Run and Gun now has 3 charges and its mana cost reduced from 50 to 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm still probably not going to use that, but wow.
Yeah. Draken Laser Drill, health increased.
Wow, I really like that.
1141 to 1255.
Because it seems like it goes down way too fast, even when it's fighting a single hero. But
and its basic attack range, its base attack range, increased by 10%. Developer comments. When we approached Tychus, we noticed that he had a lot of generic talents that were underutilized and failed to push him to a unique role. He could essentially overlap with several other ranged assassins, such as Vala, and so we wanted to differentiate him through new talents and redesigned trait. We decided to make his trait an active ability since it allowed us to be more aggressive with tuning it as compared to a passive trait. A core part of Tychus's gameplay now centers around his effectiveness.
Effectivist?
Targets.
It sounds like a fucking person. You're an effectivist or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
His effectiveness against targets that have a lot of health. So basically they wanted to make him sort of like a tank, like a tank heavy counter, Cho'Gall counter, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like, it's like he just shreds off health and stuff like that. He's able to break down these like what is it, like heavier characters in the late game. So
yeah,
obviously everyone starts out at a base at the beginning, but then as they level up, they start to differentiate as a character and moves into a role that's fitting. Because I honestly believe that Tychus got up there a little too fast, but then like his usefulness later in the late game, depending on talents chosen, like really like wore him down. But I still used him very effectively.
So moving on to specialists.
Let's do it.
Abathur.
No, Abathur.
This is an important change. It's a very small one though. Ultimate Evolution, the trait that copies an allied hero, will now inherit Karazim's trait. Previously, you would not get Karazim's trait, so if he picked heal or damage or mana or whatever, you wouldn't get any of that. You would just have base Karazim with no trait. So it was a little annoying. So that'll help. Asmodan, Globe of Annihilation, the Taste for Blood talent, duration in which enemy deaths will permanently add to Globe of Annihilation damage, increased from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. So once you throw it down on an enemy minion, you had 1 second after that for them to die and you to get the stack. So they just added another half a second.
Okay.
My assumption is maybe they were hoping that it would allow the because you can get a damage over time on it. That's 7. So maybe they're hoping that that'll help with allow that to actually count when it kills something. Oh, Gazlo. Oh, Gazlo. Oh, trash tier Gazlo. I mean, okay, Gazlo. This hero has received significant talent changes. Demolition. Demolitionist talent removed. Promote talent removed. Call down mule removed. First aid removed. Burning rage removed. Stone skin removed. Fury of the storm removed. Hardened shield removed. Salvager trait and break it down. Salvager trait and break it down talent tooltips have been updated to match their live functionality. New talent, level 20. It's raining scrap. Activate to create 1 scrap every 5 seconds near Gazlo. 60-second cooldown. Activate to create 1 scrap every second for 5 seconds. Okay, I was going to say, I was like, what? Rocket turret, his Q. Mana cost increased from 60 to 70%. Range increased by approximately 27%. His long range talent removed. Or long range turrets talent removed. New talent, superior schematics. Rocket turrets deal 25% more damage when Gazlo is in their attack range. Death laser is W. Goblin fusion talent moved from level 4 to level 16. Hyper focus coils talent moved from level 16 to level 7. And new talent at level 20, fire in lasers. Firing a death laser now causes each rocket turret to fire its own death laser as well. Charging death laser to its 2nd and 3rd power level increases the range of the turret's death lasers, but not damage. His E explodium charge. Mana cost reduced from 70 to 60. Cooldown increased from 12 to 14 seconds. New talent level 4, arc reactor, reduces the cooldown of explodion bombs by 2 seconds and adds 2 charges of rocket turret when hitting an enemy hero with explodion bomb. Okay. New talent level 13, extra large bombs, increase the cast range and radius of explodium charge by 25%. Quick release charge talent, cooldown between explodium charges uses reduced from 2 to 1 second. Robo Goblin talent functionality has been added. You can now press R to manually target your active turrets. So giving that a little bit of offensive use as opposed to just I'm Gazlo and I'm going to push and ignore my team.
It's probably still going to happen, but
yeah, probably. Murky. Block talent renamed to Fish Tank. Fish Tank provides 2 block charges. Each charge reduces damage taken from the next incoming basic attack by 50%. So, like I said, everyone pretty much got a block buff except for Murky because now it's just Fish Tank. But yeah, also March of the Murlocs damage increased from 19 to 25. That's damage per second, plus 4% per level. Nazebo. Gargantuan, its basic attack damage is increased from 228 plus 4% per level to 274 plus 4% per level. No longer deals bonus damage to minions or structures. I don't think that affects his level 20 talent, though. Well, I mean, it does in a sense, but his level 20 talent increases his damage done to minions and structures. So I think he can still get that if he gets level 20 talent. Oh my, Sylvanas. This hero has received significant talent changes.
which I haven't seen for a while because she kind of fell into obscurity of the talent pool, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Um. So her basic attack damage was increased from 74 to 85, plus 4% per level. Corruption talent removed, Envenom talent removed, Blood for Blood removed. Will of the Forsaken talent moved from level 16 to level 13. Remorseless talent moved from level 7 to level 16. Damage bonus increased from 25% to 40%. New talent level 7, Possession. Turn the allegiance of a non-catapult enemy minion. Stores up to 3 charges. She also no longer has Possession as an ultimate heroic ability. Black Arrow's trait. Paralysis talent moved from level 4 to level 1. Duration bonus reduced from 100% to 75%. Unstable poison talent. Explosion damage no longer affects heroes or structures. Overwhelming affliction talent moved from level 13 to level 16. Slow amount per stack increased from 5% to 6%. And that's where your trait slows the enemy hero. And it stacks up to 5 times. New talent level 1, Mercenary Queen. Nearby non-boss or allied mercenaries deal 50% more damage. So it's basically, it's like half of Mercenary Lord, but at level 1. But you don't take reduced damage. Not that you need reduced damage because you disable them, so. Withering Fire, her Q. Damage increased from 39 to 48. Splinter Shot talent removed. With the Wind talent moved from level 1 to level 4. Barbed Shot moved from level 1 to level 7. Evasive Fire moved from level 13 to level 16. Overflowing Quiver. This talent's functionality has changed. Now release a free Withering Fire shot whenever a nearby enemy minion dies. The free shot can only hit non-heroic targets. New talent. Withering Barrage. Gain an additional charge of Withering Fire and charges fire 33% faster. Her W, Shadow Dagger. Life Drain talent moved from level 7 to level 13. Lost Soul talent moved from level 1 to level 4. This talent's functionality has changed. Now reduce the cooldown of Shadow Dagger by 1.25 seconds for each enemy hero hit. Cold Embrace. This talent's functionality has changed. No longer reduce Shadow Dagger's range. Only the initial Shadow Dagger target becomes vulnerable. Her E, Haunting Wave. Ranger's Ambush talent removed. Shade Form talent removed. Wind Runner talent moved from level 16 to level 13. Withering Fire charges now refill after teleporting. The duration in which Haunting Wave can be cast a second time for free has been increased from 2 to 5 seconds. New heroic, Mind Control. After channeling for 1 second, gain control of an enemy hero's movement for 2.5 seconds.
Holy shit.
Yes. During this time, however, Sylvanas is rooted in place. Dark Lady's Call talent. This talent's functionality has changed and now affects mind control. Now increases target's movement speed by 100%.
So basically,
So
what that means, at least my take on it, is that means that you're taking Sylvanas out of the fight to take someone else out of the fight, or to ruin someone else's fight.
yeah.
So either way, you're going to be missing it, and someone's going to be missing it. Well, actually, if for 2.5 seconds, that's actually quite a long time in Heroes. So that
Yeah.
you could possibly get like a heroic off. You know, if you pick
Yeah.
a hero that has a really dominating heroic, like then you could decrease the amount of health that the opposite team has from their side of the fight. So I mean
Mm.
that can work very well, but at the same time, I imagine people are gonna pick it to try it out, but use it in very wrong situations. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Um Lost Vikings, Olaf the Stout talent. Oh yeah, that was it for Sylvanas. Olaf the Stout talent. Time between block stacks reduced from 8 to 5 seconds for Olaf. Zool, Curse Strikes is W. Attack speed slow now only affects heroes and summons. My guess is it probably affected. It probably
affected
affected
minion waves,
buildings,
buildings and minion waves, right?
stuff like that. Yeah,
I mean, minion waves don't attack that fast to begin with, but
yeah. Zagara, Nidus Worm. Her Nidus Worm talents change. While inside Nidus Worm, health and mana are now restored at a rate equal to the Hall of Storms.
wow.
So she can regenerate inside there. Nidus Worm can now be cast while inside another Nidus Worm.
Wow. So it's like
Zagara
making a
now,
new exit then.
yeah. Zagara now exits Nidus Worm instantly, and can also exit by right-clicking the minimap.
Yeah, so basically it's like, because like Nidus Worm was not very widely used, and so it was just a talent gathering dust. So
Yeah.
I mean that's a good way to maybe utilize to change people's Zagara playstyle to be a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time they could retreat when they need to.
Mm-hmm. Everything else is just so then supports Brightwing. Like I mentioned before, Pixie Dust, the damage reduction amount changed from 50 to 75%. Because I remember her Pixie Dust would grant 2 charges of block. Lily, her fast feet trait, the elusive feet talent, the block charges you get now reduce the attack damage by 75%. Rhaegar's Earthbind totem can now be hit by area of effect abilities, which is kind of important.
Which seems strange that it didn't before.
Yeah, before it could only be
Hit
destroyed by
directly.
auto attacks. Yeah. Chen, there's now a half-second cooldown between activation and cancellation of Fortifying Brew.
So it's like picking up and putting down.
Yeah. Johanna, reinforced talent. And then
Which is more
Johanna and
more blocking,
Rexar,
right?
yeah, it's just the blocks. Johanna and Rexar, their block talents, which were a little different, just got beefed up as well.
I mean, I like to believe Rexar needed it. Needed an increase in the block. I mean, he's not, as far as I know, he isn't. I haven't seen him very often, but it just seems like that. A lot of people don't use him very well. So blocks, you need those blocks.
Blokes. I think there was. Okay. Um.
How about if I just quickly, because I actually have it up now. So how about if I quickly read
Yeah.
the bug fixes for heroes and talents?
Oh yeah, if you want.
So these are here about I'm gonna there's a bunch of bug fixes, but this is more like a lot of them are general like art and background user interface stuff. But the more important stuff here, at least I believe, is heroes and talents, because people there are often times where people are like, oh my god, like when Chen's a flying kick didn't do shit. Um, that's
Yeah.
a bug. So, fixed a bug affecting Stitches in the Butcher that could cause performance issues under certain circumstances. Um,
Performance issues.
for like I mean maybe movement speed drops or something like that. Fix an issue that could prevent Rhaegar's feral lunge from properly connecting with enemies who are running in the opposite direction. Regeneration globes will now properly grant healing and regeneration master stacks when collected as a shield expires. Fix an issue which caused several heroes' trait icons to appear grayed out at all times. Floating combat text for Artanis Twinblades now properly colored orange after learning the Zealot charge talent. Block stacks granted by Brightwing's Pixie Dust will now last for a full 4-second duration listed in the ability's description. Cho'Gall will now be healed for a proper amount of basic attacks against friendlies against affected by consuming blaze after learning Cho's fuel for the flame and fire eater talents. Fix an issue that could allow Cho to repeatedly cast Sundering Fist under certain circumstances. ETC can no longer change the direction of Power Slide while trapped in Zeratil's Void Prison. Gall can no longer count as a secondary target for Lily's Healing Brew with the 2-for-1 talent. So that would mean double healing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty
Uh,
deep though.
I mean, because, two heads. Fix an issue affecting Greymane's Galeen cocktail, which caused a slight delay between the ability's damage and graphic effects after taking the drought overflow talent or the drought overflow talent.
Mm-hmm.
After after learning the perfect aim talent, Greymane's Gilneen cocktail now properly refunds mana when an enemy hero is struck by the far edge of the ability's explosion. Jaina's basic attacks will now properly refund mana after learning the arcane intellect talent. Li Ming's arcane orb can no longer be hit by sandstorm created by the boss of the Sky Temple. Damn.
Well,
So
wow.
he was mitigating damage by using his sandstorm. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Lunar's leaping strike will now fire will now fire appropriately when cast at the same moment as the target enters the line of sight blocker. Um, Player will no longer lose control of Lieutenant Morales if she is killed immediately after casting Medevac Dropship. Enemy minions that have been picked up by Nazebo's Gargantuan will now be killed when the Gargantuan expires. Damn. Fix an issue that prevented Nova from entering stealth when activating Ghost Protocol talent affected by damage over time by being affected by DOT. The visual effects for Tassador's Dimensional Shift will now properly display if cast after breaking the stealth effect applied by Tyranda's Shadowstalk. Zul Skeletal Mages will now properly prioritize heroes, Dragon Knights, and Garden Terrors over enemy minions. I never noticed that it did that. Clicking Reset Talents in Try Mode will no longer cause Zagara's Hunter Killer to deal reduced damage. What?
Damn. That's weird.
Wow, Try Mode, huh? And that is it for glitches for heroes and talents.
Okay, so I found out. I found out what I was looking for. So there was a handful of talents that were changed.
Uh
huh. And these are like sort of these are generic talents which are applied to multiple heroes. So there was obviously the block issue, or not issue, but change.
Yeah.
And they said they just wanted it to be more meaningful. Arcane Power, which I believe only Kalphos and Jaina get. The duration is increased from 5 to 10 seconds. And what that does is it restores 400 mana and increases your ability damage by 15%.
Okay.
So now it lasts 15 seconds. 10 seconds, sorry, 10 seconds. Dampen Magic, which so far only Stitches has been redesigned. Dampen Magic charges now cause all incoming ability damage to be reduced by 50% for 1 second. Similar to Block, Dampen Magic is the first of many efforts we will be making to create more meaningful counterpick talents. In this case, against spellcasters, we found the original iteration of Dampen Magic did not fulfill its purpose of mitigating spell damage due to how many spell effects are done with incremental damage. The buff should make the talent more universally viable against enemy spells. So it's like a mini spell shield.
Oh, okay.
That charges every, I think, 8 seconds. And then for some, this one's strange to me and it makes no sense. Vampiric Assault and Vampiric Strike, which are the 15% basic attack damage and 25% basic attack damage, heal you.
Yeah, so Leech.
Yeah. They've been renamed to Vigorous Assault and Vigorous Strikes.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
That sounds like an attack speed buff.
Yeah, that I don't get it at all. The only thing I could think of is that I don't know if like there's a thing with vampires and somewhere that this game is at, or I don't know. But even so, I don't see how that affects it. I don't know.
I don't.
But I mean, that's pretty much it. Actually, that's everything. There's a
Alrighty.
lot of changes. Huge update. Kalthos is kind of meh. Everyone else's changes seem to be all right though.
Well, I mean, it seems like any real change, like by that they've tried to make Kalthos a little bit more balanced, is basically really technically failed to the community. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess one day they'll get it dialed in, and hopefully,
Yeah. One day.
I've never used Kalthus, so I can't really sympathize
Yeah.
with you. So I mean,
I mean, it's okay. Like, I mean, there was an issue. He was released just so overpowered, and then
they've
I,
been trying to balance him since.
yeah,
So
and it felt like he kind of was balanced last patch, but the problem was he really only had one. Well, yeah, he kind of had one viable build. I mean, the Q build, there was a Q build there that was actually pretty okay, but people didn't use it. Um, and I think especially because part of the problem that happens is like in organized play, you have healers and tanks that you trust to peel for you.
yeah,
So Kalthos could focus on using Chain Bomb, which was a lot more reliable damage wise.
hmm
Um, so because everyone sees, the pros running that strat only, they think that's the only way to do it. And if you don't run that, then people are like, "What are you doing?" Yada yada yada.
yeah.
You know.
It's like how it's like how you get these very failed demonstrations of people's using false stats, alternate heroic,
Oh yeah.
because of what they see online.
Yeah.
Don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
That's real. That here, this, at least in this point of view, don't kid yourself. Use what you're used to. You
Yeah.
know, if you found, and if this way works for you, don't fucking, you don't need to follow the crowd. If it works efficiently, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually thought he was pretty balanced before. I thought he had two viable builds. Um, but people only use the living bomb build, so then they were like, well, now he doesn't have any talent diversity, so we just got to completely rework him. And now he's just kind of meh. The hard part is they're like he just doesn't have any survivability, and that's it. Like the problem is living bomb has such a short range, so to go in and like try to do it and like make it spread and make plays with it, you put yourself in way too much danger. And they took away Bolt of the Storm. You're depending on the map, you might not even get Arcane Barrier till late in the game. You might even be level 20 by the time you get it, depending on the map, because some maps aren't, they're not built for you to be gathering globes all the time.
Yeah.
So eh, it's just too dangerous. So I think he works in certain. I think he's a situational pick at best right now. Um, for like zone control and like pretty much just zone control. And I think he actually works kind of okay if you stay in the back line. I think he's actually not too bad at helping his peel for his fellow backline mates because he has a stun. And at 13, you can
So
talent the
basically,
slow on your
what that
W.
really means is, like, all you people who relentlessly take the front line, like, like, realize where your place needs to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not. Let's just say I'm not talking like, like I know where I know where I need to be at all times. But I don't play this game as often as as maybe Ultima does. But I know my place.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to think about. Like, the example. It's like, you're if you what I normally play is Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah.
I know my place, and that's behind everyone else. You don't walk to the middle of everyone and then siege. No,
Yeah.
that's the lesson we have to take from here at the end, is don't, know where your place lies in the front line or in the back line.
Yeah.
or maybe in between, where you're where you're watching, where you're watching for sneak attacks from cloaks. That's different. Know your place, basically. And it's not, I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm saying, like, there are plenty of, hammers out there that don't know how to run,
Mm.
when it gets down to it, even in the back, so, just, just, with these changes, you just gotta they're just trying to figure out where to place these heroes now, because it seems like with each of these really big patches,
Mm.
they're giving more heroes diversity. So, like, they take off a lot of skills. They take off a lot of talents and then replace with talents. So basically, it's like they're making talents unique to the character now.
Yeah.
So basically, they're trying to take every character and make them break out in their own way. I
Yeah.
mean, for Kalthus, this has been a bit of an issue because
Yeah.
of his damage is like a scale. It tips to one side or it tips to another.
Yeah.
So, they're trying to make it so there's but at the same time, it tips the scale in the wrong direction. But,
Yeah.
let's just be patient here for Kalthus. I don't use
Yeah.
Kalthus, so I can't really say. But
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll still feel comfortable picking him in certain situations.
it's about
Just
experience at
because,
this point, I guess.
yeah, because now it's like, I mean, I know, like, I know how to use it, and I've been using a keel build before, they were slowly whittling down his like survivability before. Um, so like that's when I really like looked into a Q build. Of course, back then you had a range increase on your Q as a talent that they removed, but um, you know, your Q's on a pretty short cooldown. You can build it to do a lot of damage. I think Kalthos could still work in like poke comps. Um, you know, or so like I think Curse Hollow, or like he's really good at zone control. I think because now at level 20, you don't need Bolt. Well, you don't get Bolt, so you can take the upgrade to your Phoenix, and now Phoenix is like 14 seconds of just a giant area of fire that the enemies be stupid to just stand in.
Yeah.
So you have a ton of zone control. So I don't know. Maybe he can work well with Hammer.
Let's just say he zones like a specialist does,
Yeah,
because Hammer's a zoning specialist, and that's so much is like, she, rather than, she's not only, for pushing really hard, like Gazlo,
yeah,
because, I don't, you're not, Hammer's movement is limited for a reason, because she's a
mm,
tank. She's a tank
yeah,
with alternate modes. Not like Gazlo, where you can push relentlessly and not care about your team.
yeah,
Because with, it's there. I guess with every patch they're trying out something new with Kalthus to
yeah,
see if people start to get, will warm up to their effort.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess
Uh,
I guess right now they're trying to make Kalthus a zoning character, but we'll see what really goes down.
yeah,
And I'm gonna say, as like, now hearing a lot of changes to Illidan, I just might start being scared of him.
Illidan.
Because I used to be able, I honestly, that people may not believe this, but I have on multiple occasions successfully 1v1 an Illidan with Sergeant Hammer.
Jeez.
So with reading all of his talents, like, increase his attack speeds,
Yeah.
um and
And
like,
get block
increases his
charges on
dive,
his Q.
increases
Yeah.
dive rangings, like,
Yeah.
now you have to think about running sooner than later.
Yeah.
So, it seems like now I'm not going to be able to 1v1 an Illidan with Sergeant Hammer. I mean, that's stupid to begin with, but I've done it. Um, uh, so yeah, I mean,
That's it.
let's see where this goes. And
Mm.
oh yeah, so let's all have fun with Dahaka for those who are getting Dahaka. I will
Yeah.
I will post a hero spotlight video in the description if you already haven't seen it. I mean, but that's pretty easy to look up, so I'm gonna do that anyway. So, I guess I guess now we'll see what happens in the Nexus.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in the Nexus.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the Kings of Rise.
This is Ultima.
Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you like or dislike about the patch. and tell us, recommend what you think they needs to be fixed in the patch. Um, let's just hope, like, if people do comment, let's just hope there's gonna be, talks about other heroes rather than Kalthus, because Kalthus seems to be getting huge backlashes. So,
Yeah.
again, like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.